Song Talk Radio.
Good evening. Welcome back to the show, everyone, here on Song Talk Radio. This is the show where we talk to songwriters all about the craft of songwriting, with the goal that at the end of the show, each and every one of us will learn 3 new things on how to write better songs. And we usually do, sometimes even more. I am your host today, Phil Emery, and my co-host today is songwriter extraordinaire and songwriting educator, Susan Cattaneo. Been on her show many times. Hi, Susan. How are
Hello.
you? You just got back from a songwriting retreat.
I did. I was teaching at a retreat called Summer Songs in New York State, and it was really, really fun. And it was great to be teaching again, and great to be able to work with so many talented people. It was really cool.
That's right, a full week.
Yeah.
And our guest today is a new songwriter, and hope he's not going to be too nervous, for being on the show, because it's a big deal. His name's Neel Moody. Neel Moody. Welcome on the show, Neel.
I'm going to start being moody if you keep up that charade, Phil.
I tried to do a bit.
Oh, you're doing a bit. Okay.
We're just right in sync.
We're just zipping. I'm going to take a bite out of your bit there.
During the show, yes. Don't forget you can send us your thoughts and your impressions at feedback@songtalk.ca. Neel, you got an article to start off with, I think, that you found.
Oh yeah, so one of my favorite authors of late, Ted Goya, who's not a musician. He's a historian and a writer, and with a keen passion for music history. And I read one of his books about how revolutions in music over history have always been perversions from like the down up as opposed to the top down sort of thing, like very everything. All revolutions have been subversive in nature throughout history, which is a really fascinating book. And he recently wrote an article on the website The Honest Broker called this is his website, called honestbroker.com. And he starts out, the number of songs in the world doubled yesterday. Did you even notice? An artificial intelligence company in Delaware boasted in a press release that it had created 100 million new songs. That's roughly equivalent to the entire catalog of music available on Spotify. And of course, this is artificial intelligence at work, right? And and of course, you read the article and it's like, yeah, but are they any good? is the key question. But quantity over quality is the driving thing. And this is only the start of the artificial intelligence revolution. I mean, number of songs in the world doubled in one day.
But how do you feel about that? I'm so curious, because for me, I feel a little bit like I'm a Luddite, in the sense that I still believe that you should do the work to get to the song. And I believe that there's important lessons that are learned in doing the work. But how do you guys feel about AI? How are you feeling about that?
I think it's a tool like any other. My mind was blown about 7 months ago when I got this new virtual singing software, which is artificial intelligence driven. And from a creativity standpoint, it has enabled me to complete songs for these challenges, for other challenges, we were talking about Chad's group before we started recording here. Chad Shank from Minnesota's at-home songwriting group. I completed a couple of songs for that, and because I'm not a strong singer, it would take me a lot longer to like practice the crap out of it, record it, do some pitch correction, and then if I want to change a lyric, I got to set up a microphone again, record it again, suffer through that experience, and then months and months later I might actually finish the thing. Whereas here I just record the part with MIDI, throw on a voice, and it does the rest for me. It's kind of remarkable. That being said, I mean, what he's talking about, composition wise and actually writing stuff, like he's saying, this is all like the AI in the same ways that we operate. We take all our influences, all the songs that we write are products of all the songs we've heard in one form or another. I mean,
True.
we're bringing together different elements of different things. And in artificial intelligence, that's why it's called artificial intelligence, because it's kind of doing the same thing, albeit the results tend to be, at this point anyway, tend to be very vanilla, very ordinary, very conventional, So yeah, are they any good? Probably not right now. In the future, we may not be able to tell the difference between an AI written song and one written by a bona fide human. And even and it's been going on for a long time now. I mean, a lot of humans write repetitive, conventional, vanilla, just copy of what the last hit was.
Yeah, that's true.
Kind of manufactured songwriting. I mean, and now we just get, millions more of them every day than humans can ever crank out. I don't know.
Yeah, I've tried some of the AI tools in my, my marketing practice, and I've never been able to get anything useful out of them. I think in my experience, that may be just because I'm not good at using them yet. But my sense is if you're not sure what you want, they're very good because they'll come up with something as opposed to, as opposed to like starting off with nothing and you trying to come up with an idea. My problem is I have very clear and solid ideas. So the AI hasn't really been able to help me with that because I actually already know what the end is. And for writing copy, the copy is usually so poor that there's no advantage to me because I'd be able to write it twice as fast anyways. So I'm not sure. I was hoping that robots would be doing more of the vacuuming and the
laundry. Can't they be cleaning up the plastic in the ocean? And can't they be reinventing a new energy source? And
yes.
I mean, can't they be doing that instead of going into the nook and cranny that was the only thing that we can, that beautiful, pristine thing called imagination and creativity. I'm sure there's people working on robots to do all that other stuff too. It's just that doesn't make the news, right?
Yeah. Well, maybe.
What about you, Susan? Like you said, you're just self-professed Luddite.
I just think that we probably could talk for 5 hours about this, so I won't talk too long. But I'm just saying, like the example, Neel, of you like getting the shortcut to singing, right? So maybe if I think about singers that are not kind of perfect, I don't know, somebody like, I just was reading Patti Smith's book. Patti Smith is not a perfect singer.
No.
And people love her imperfection in her voice. If she had an AI and she was insecure about how she sounded, we would never have heard Patti Smith because it would have been vanillaized. Because and who knows, maybe she was never insecure about her voice, but she's not like Celine Dion, who's like a standard singer. And I think for me, the exercise of you like actually singing and learning how to use your voice, whether your voice is considered like good by, Celine Dion standards, who cares? There might be something human in it. There might be something emotional in it that we are not going to hear because you're not singing your song. I don't know. I just feel like, oh God.
I can totally appreciate that. And I'll admit that this is a new thing for me. It's only a few months old and I'm fascinated with it. And it's kind of incredible that I can at least get my output to a certain point that, I'm pretty happy with it.
Yeah.
Does it sound like a normal kind of conventional singer? Yeah. Does it have my personality? Absolutely not. Right? No, of course not. Right. So there are those things. And I mean, I'm in a position where I'm not, looking to make a career out of this. It's very much a passion project and a amateur hobbyist standpoint. So I don't know. I mean, I'm not even pushing for, here's a song, can someone else sing it and make a hit out of it. I'm not even looking for that necessarily. I just found this tool. I think it's amazing and I'm using it.
Yeah.
That's kind of where it ends. It's the same with my virtual, like I don't play guitar either, but I do it on my keyboard through these, I wouldn't say they're artificial intelligence, but there is a little bit of that going on in some of these like pattern driven plugins where you just hit one note and it repeats this strumming pattern on the guitar. And
Right.
You know, and I could put in the effort to try and learn how to play guitar. I've tried before, didn't get very far. Stick to my keys.
But you're still playing something. You're still like,
but I'm still creating something.
Right? You're still creating something. So
I'm still writing the lyrics. I'm still writing the melodies.
Yes. And I think for me, like when it starts getting where, I mean, USA Songwriting, I just got an email that they're like, you know, they're accepting songwriting entries for their songwriting contests, and they're allowing people to use AI to write songs.
Oh, and wow.
I'm just huge. Like, I don't know. I think for me, it's like, you know, it's kind of like if I start at A, right, and I write through A into B, and eventually I end up with C is my song, right? I did the process of that to get to C. I started with A, but I ended up with C. And maybe B, which didn't get finished that time, would end up becoming another song. But I would never have discovered B if I went automatically to C. I wouldn't have done A and B to get to C. And so I feel it feels like I'm a little dramatically like, it's the end of the world. But I also believe that, I feel like there's going to be like a tribe that are like, no, we do it the original way. And then there'll be people who are like, we only do it the AI way. And I don't know. I guess I'm still on the original way.
There is a lot of thought about one of the reasons why so many kids want to play keyboards now is that it's a lot easier to get good sounding things out of a keyboard versus learning how to play the guitar, which takes time to be able to, even get to the point where you can move around and do some chords. It does take some time, not a huge amount, but it does take some time. I've been on some forums and you'll have some person say, oh, I've been playing music for 2 years and, I don't seem to be getting any better. I'm going, 2 years is nothing. Like a violinist is going to be, a professional violinist has gotten there after, 15, 20 years of work,
Right.
I started playing piano when I was like 14. By the time I was 16.
Right. I mean, what the hell?
Yeah. So it's
flying by my standard.
Yeah, it's
I don't know.
But for our listeners out there, why don't you send us an email at feedback@songtalk.ca and let me know if you're worried about getting replaced by a robot.
Or if you're going to be fighting the robots.
Well, personally, I welcome our new metal overlords and want them to know that as someone who works in marketing, I can help spread the word and get other humans to tow under their ungodly leadership. So
there you go.
Just for all the robots. Willing to sell out humanity in a second,
Yeah. And of course, this is not the end of this discussion because we'll be getting to tonight's topic. I'm going to be bringing this bad boy back.
Okay. Absolutely. So modes. So this is Neel's entrance into the competition of 2023. Which is writing a song.
It's a challenge.
It's a competition. Well, it's actually no. It is just a challenge.
There's no winners and losers in this game.
That's true. So it's the Challenge 2023 challenge. Write a song in a mode you're not familiar with. Now, I've run into an interesting situation with my songs because I usually start off writing something and then get distracted. So I've come up with a couple of ideas, but I know they're in modes, but I don't know what modes they're in. I'm pretty sure they're in a mode, but I'm not really sure what mode they're in. It's very weird.
Can you sing the scale of your song or even the scale of the section at the time?
Well, one has it's a major chord, but the bass line is walking down chromatically.
Okay.
So it's doing that, and it's
And is it hitting chords at the time, or is it just are they like passing tones on your way? Do you know what I mean?
think they're real chords.
Huh.
You're almost certainly modally interchanging if you're doing that.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. There's a couple ones. There's one which is actually like da 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 da. which is a really fun song because I was very proud that I managed to get a melody which just walks half tones up and down.
Yeah. And I think that's fine, Phil, because like we're being very open with this challenge. We're not saying you have to adhere to any one particular thing. Just play around with modes. That's really what the challenge is.
I should be able to say what mode it is.
Well, I suppose, and to do it on purpose, I guess that's the thing. I mean, for me, the challenge was writing in a mode and sticking to it, because I've done a lot of what you're talking about, the chromatics. I mean, a piano player, of course we do chromatic stuff.
Yeah.
Right? And
that specific example makes me think it's maybe not a mode, but you're writing in the blues scale, because you've got the do re mi, like you might be in a blues scale as opposed to actually in a mode. And the Dorian mode is similar to the blues scale, but a little bit different. So you could be writing in a scale also.
Mm-hmm.
I know that probably like throws every. I don't mean to confuse everybody, but
might be an interesting approach.
I suppose at a certain point, if you just pick a group of 7 notes, whatever the semitone, tone, semitone, whatever the sequence of semitones and semitones is, and confined to an octave, and you stick to those notes, it's a mode. It may not be one of the common modes, but
that's true.
It's a mode like any other.
So Neel, tell us about your process to write your entry.
So when we started this challenge, I quickly arrived at the notion that I've heard, and it makes a certain amount of sense, that a lot of classic rock songs, which I know is a very, very broad term, were written in Mixolydian. Mixolydian is kind of a go-to, for blues rock, because it's got that flat 7 in it compared to the major. And so I thought to myself, well, why don't I write a classic rock song in Mixolydian? And the other part to that was I had an idea for a song a while back with just the title and the central idea. And I never got around to writing it. But I knew that the song was about nostalgia and about stuff is changing and I wish stuff didn't, and the good old days kind of thing. And I thought, well, that seems appropriate if I'm going to write a classic rock song. it's everything's a throwback in this context, right? So which kind of excited me. Okay, so that's kind of cool. And the other thing, of course, was that I've played around with modes by accident many, many times. I love borrowing chords from other, like I'll start in major, I'll throw in a flat 3 just because, it sounds kind of cool. I thought it was the cleverest thing when I put a major 5 chord into a minor key, and then I found out that the composer's been doing that for eons. And it's not that original, but it was one of my favorite things to do. But for me, the challenge was working in Mixolydian and sticking to Mixolydian, because my tendency would be like, oh, bridge, okay, now I'm going to modulate to something else, into a different mode, something else. But I forced myself to stick within Mixolydian for the entire song. And but here's one interesting thing that I discovered along the way. And we talked about this, I think, a couple of weeks ago, Phil, that when you were saying with one of your ideas for your song, you start in Lydian or something like that, but then halfway through your chord progression, you kind of find your way back into major or back into minor or something like that. And on our resource page, this is back in January, I did a little video because we talked on the podcast how I started playing around with Mixolydian, and I did a little video where I wrote a little chord progression in Mixolydian on my piano, and sort of demonstrated how I came up with it. The video that's up there was my take 2 of that video. My take 1 was that I was fooling myself into believing that I was actually in Mixolydian, where in fact I was starting in Mixolydian and sort of finding my way back into F major instead of being in F Mixolydian. Because the first video I did with that example was that I had actually got my piano loaded up here. I have an F major, and if I go up the normal chords, G minor as a 2 chord, A minor as a 3 chord, B flat major, C major, D minor, E diminished, which we can bracket because, E diminished, which we can bracket because we're probably not going to use that, and then back to your F major. Now in F Mixolydian, that leading tone, the E natural that leads you to the F, turns into an E flat, right? So then your chords become F major, G minor, the same. Your A minor that was in major then turns into an A diminished because it has that because it has that E flat in it. B flat major remains the same. It's your 4 chord. Your 5 chord actually turns into a minor, C minor instead of C major. D minor is the same, but your 7 chord becomes a major chord, E flat major. The first time I did that video, I fooled myself into it. I started playing around with chords, F, B flat, A minor, and trying to incorporate the E flat, doing something like that. But I kept going to A minor, not A diminished, because I'm used to being in a major key and playing a minor 3 chord. So I actually recorded the video going, Mixolydian is so cool. There's no diminished chord in it. You get 3 majors and 4 minors to play with. And I thought it was the neatest thing. And then I was like 2 seconds away from publishing this thing on YouTube, and then I realized, wait a minute, it is actually an A diminished chord, and that's when I realized that every note around the circle of fifths, no matter what key you're in, no matter what mode you're in, you always, even Locrian, you have 3 major chords, 3 minor chords, 1 diminished, every single one, and it's all balanced. And this is the amazing thing about our system of music is that with equal temperament and everything is even all the way around the circle of fifths, and so that totally made sense that the diminished chord in whatever your mode you're in, in major, it's the 7 chord that's diminished. In Mixolydian, it ends up being the 3 chord. In Lydian, I don't even know what it is. I think it's the 2 chord or something. Like where it is moves loses position in the scale depending on where you are in the mode. But that was just kind of a kind of moment for me. Look how beautiful our system of music is. It's all balanced, and everything always works out, right?
Another way. Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Please, Susan, go ahead.
I was going to say, like, a way that I kind of like to think about it is, so a diatonic scale is any scale that has 7 notes in it, and the relationship between those notes is 5 whole notes and 2 half notes. That's really all you have to remember.
Yeah.
So every single mode is 7 notes, and the distances between them is 5 whole notes and 2 half notes. Where those half notes and whole notes happen, that's what determines which mode it is.
Right.
So I always remember 7, 5, and 2. I don't know why I'm always like, okay, so that's, I'm going to figure it out. 5 whole tones, 2 half tones, or 5 whole notes and 2 semitones. So, yeah.
Absolutely.
You almost have to think about it.
Every single mode.
You almost have to think about it really. I think some people think about, the individual notes, but you almost really should be focusing on the intervals, the space, like the
space between the notes.
Between the notes, really, as opposed to thinking one, because I think that's what threw me off a lot. Initially.
Yeah. So it is a little bit tricky. At least it was tricky for me to force myself to stay within Mixolydian. But through that, the biggest thing I found out, just from a sort of tone perspective, is that because in major you get that very distinctive 5-1 relationship. In Mixolydian, you don't have that. You don't have that major 5. It's a minor 5.
Right.
So you have to resort to subdominant chords, or
the 4 to 1,
right.
The 4 to 1, or the 7 to 1.
Oh, okay.
Right, because the 7 is a major chord, and it doesn't have quite that what we say a dominant pull. It's more of a subdominant pull. It's got a pull back to your home chord, but not as strong.
Right. Exactly.
Right? So major. So the way I'm thinking about it now is major scale songs tend to be kind of nursery rhymey. They do have that leading tone, the 7 to 1 kind of thing, semitone relationship there, and they really pull you back to your home bass, right? Mixolydian is very, very similar to that, but it's a little bit smoother.
Yeah.
It's a little bit mellower. It's not, the contrast lines are a little softened.
Right.
Right.
Well, and I don't think they're, I mean, and even like when you sing the scale, so do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti. The T is like, please, God, resolve me to do.
Yeah.
You just have this constant like Tito.
Yeah.
As opposed to when you do mixo, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, te. Te. It doesn't have, I don't, te, ti, do. I don't have that like need. It almost wants to resolve, te, la. It almost wants to resolve downward as opposed to this intense like buildup of like, oh my God, I've got to get to the tonic. For me, like when I have that flat 7 in there or the minor 7, I feel like there isn't this, it's kind of like what you said, Neel, where I don't feel in a rush. I don't feel like I'm like, oh, we've got to get to the tonic. It's more like we can relax a little bit.
Yeah,
I don't know.
chill a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
We can hang on that 7 a little bit.
Yeah, totally.
Without resolving. So that's the kind of thing I discovered, that it's kind of a smoother journey, and and less contrast. And then so back to our discussion about the AI. I had the idea. The title of the song is called Shoelaces. And then the experience was, this was a few years ago, I was shopping for shoes, and all the shoes I could find were either loafers or they had Velcro straps on them, and nobody seemed to be selling shoes with shoelaces. I really like shoelaces. I like being able to tie things strongly. Velcro straps always loosen up. Loafers just tear my heels to shreds. No other kind of shoes do me, right? And I'm like, oh crap, I'm old. I'm not digging the new kicks, whatever. I'm feeling old now. I just want my old-fashioned shoelaces. Like, what's wrong with old-fashioned shoelaces? All you kids are wrong on this.
Get off my lawn.
Get off my lawn, right? And and of course I'm living like a millennial in a tiny condo, so I have no lawn for you
to get off of. But if I did, you'd get off it. I'd yell at you.
Get out of the hallway. But I kind of sat on that idea. It was kind of tucked away. I was like, okay, maybe one day I'll write a song called Shoelaces about this idea, right? And then when this thing came up, and I started thinking about classic rock songs, I'm like, yeah, you know what, Shoelaces would make a good classic rock song.
Nice.
and it would feel good in mixo.
So you started off with the title.
I started off with the title.
Cool.
And I wrote a chorus with a melody and the chords and the Mixolydian chords and everything. And I was like, this is great. And I sat on that for like a month, because then I kind of got stuck there. I didn't know in the verses if I wanted to be like, should I extend the shoelace metaphor? Should I talk about walking and tying up and all that sort of stuff? Or should I go for something a little more real life, like things that I experienced as a younger person and what I liked about them and all that sort of things? I grappled with this back and forth, and I couldn't come up with anything that was reasonable. So I resorted to ChatGPT, and I was like, write me a song about nostalgia. It was terrible. Like you said, it was garbage. It was so vanilla and so ordinary that I was like, this is awful. Okay, so write me a song about nostalgia called Shoelaces. Aha. ChatGPT took that metaphor and spun it in a way that I would never think of, because it was awful. It was really, really bad. It's like, no, this is really, really dumb. And so I went back and forth a little bit with the ChatGPT thing, and eventually I took ChatGPT's verse, sort of tweaked it a little bit, and just stuck with it, fully knowing that I'm going to write my own verse after this. But it got me into the verse, and maybe forced me to sort of develop the chord progression and the melody of the verses and get some kind of structure to this song, right? And once I had that, then I could go back and put a little bit more meaning into the verses, a little more me into the verses, so that it becomes something that's my song. The other thing that I wanted to incorporate in the song, which I've never done before, is like la-las or da-das or ooh-oohs or something like that. I've never done that. I've always been very lyric, like it's got to be a meaningful word all the way through. But again, I thought classic rock songs do this all the time, right? it's like a thing. So I threw in a little bit of that. A lot of virtual electric guitars. I don't know what else to say about it.
So, and this song being, why is the song in Mixolydian? Is it because you have an E flat major 7?
Yeah. The 7 chord is a major, flat is a what did I say? 7 chord is a major.
Yeah, it's flat 7
because the note
chord.
is flattened. The 7 note
Right.
is flattened. Yeah, and the other ones, yeah.
But isn't an E flat major 7th? Doesn't that mean that the 7 is actually not flattened?
E flat 7 would be, but E flat major 7 uses the diatonic 7. So it's
yes.
as opposed to
right. Yeah, that's what I said. Yeah. Okay.
we're agreeing, but we're arguing.
Well, that is kind of
this every once in a while.
I kind of do this. Okay, well, why don't we take a listen to it, and then we can talk about it.
Sure.
All right, here we go.
Let's hit it.
In days gone past, we'd bike round till our chains went dry. Sweetest fresh air, forest and riverside. If it works, don't fix it. If it fits, don't change it. Give me my shoelaces. Da 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 da. I wanna hold on to something strong. Give me my shoelaces. Da 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 da. I've had the wrong fit for too long. Park back at home, we'd shoot the shit past dinner time. No one would know that we were right outside. Simple lives are long gone, faded away with all the fun. Give me my shoelaces. Da 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 da. I wanna hold on to something strong. Give me my shoelaces. Da 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 da. I've had the wrong fit for too long. As I walk day into night, I'm afraid of falling behind. Keep on digging my heels. New kicks ain't such a good deal. Give me my shoelaces. Da
That guitar solo really sounds like I wrote it on my piano, doesn't it? It's so piano guitar solo.
Who is singing?
One of those virtual singers. His name is Kevin.
Oh, Lord.
Unreal.
He's not a real singer?
Not a real singer.
It's like an AI.
It's sampled. Like all the things are sampled, but then the AI engine sort of puts together the words that you enter into the lyric, and
oh my God,
you can adjust the phonemes, you can adjust the vibrato, you can adjust the dynamics, the breathiness. It's
Kevin.
It's kind of insane.
But it is great. It does help you get to a point where you can hear it and you're not thinking, oh, well, the vocals are off, and because I know. Sometimes in our meetups, we have to remind people saying, look, it's not about how well someone sings. That's not the point of the exercise. But it's hard for people to...
And if I want to bring this song, say, to my band, where we have a perfectly capable, great singer, and I can show this to the band and be like, this is the vision. Like, this is what I hear, right? And it's clearer than trying to fudge through it.
What'd you think, Susan?
I'm thinking I don't like that, but that's okay. It's okay. No, so I'm thinking Kevin is misstressing some words, and that is kind of driving me crazy.
Oh boy, okay.
Give me my shoelaces. How do you say that?
Said this. How do you
say that? How do you say that word?
Shoelaces.
Shoelaces.
Yeah.
So give me my shoelaces.
Laces. Yeah.
Laces. So we're not, it would be, give me my shoelaces. Shoelaces. So you need to kind of restructure your melody because it's asking me to emphasize the second part of that word. Right. And that's really not how we say it. So every time, I know that there's a lot of misstressing out in the world. Tori Amos is famous for it. Alanis Morissette. Even Taylor Swift has done it. But I think that what happens when you misstress stuff is that we fall in love with how it sounds rather than what it's saying. Because we're like, oh, that's cool. What's he saying there? Instead of like just getting the lyric.
Yeah.
So give me my shoelaces. Give me my shoelaces. Instead of giving my shoelaces. Right? And then there was another one also in the chorus. I want to hold on. Wait, give me my shoelaces. I want to hold on to something strong.
Yeah.
You wouldn't say to. I want to hold on to something strong. We lose. I want to hold on to something strong.
Yeah.
To is a tiny little word that does not need to be in a down stressed position. But Kevin has sung it in a downstressed position.
That's honestly Kevin. That's me. That was me putting the melody right there.
Oh, okay. So if you were going to say it, I love the melody change. I want to hold. That's really nice because it holds, right?
Yeah.
I want to hold on to something strong. So to is like a tiny little word that doesn't get any attention at all. We just, I want to hold on to something strong. We want something strong and hold on. Those are the most important words in that line. So, yeah, sorry.
No. I appreciate this. And I brought this song to our meetup, and one person has pointed out the shoelaces thing.
I mean, it's memorable.
4 other people in the group were like, I didn't hear that, and it didn't bother me.
I would like to push back on that. I agree with you.
Push back, Phil.
I agree with Susan with the two. It does kind of jarring. But the thing is, with the shoelaces, it is a hook, and it does grab you. And I do understand that you're talking about, what the song means, but that's going to be the thing that people grab onto because it is a little bit weird. Shoelaces. I mean, it's kind of weird. Whereas when you sing it straighter, I think it sounds maybe a little bit more Broadway. Whereas, because that was one of the things that really kind of grabbed my ear. Shoelaces. I mean, like, you don't say it that way, but we also don't say, hope we don't all fade away. But so.
Or we don't say, when the rain washes you clean, you'll know.
Yeah.
You will know. But once again, for me, because it's the hook. That's the only, if it were like, when the rain washes you, right? I'm just hearing that. Or, in Taylor Swift's blank spaces, she's got a line called, got a long list of ex-lovers, got a long list of ex-lovers.
Yeah.
And everybody thought she was saying, got a long list Starbucks lovers, to the point where like Starbucks was like, thank you so much for writing about us in your song. Her mom was like, why are you writing about Starbucks lovers?
And that's the question for me, Susan. Is it so egregious that you mistake that word for something else?
I just don't think you really understand what the meaning of it is. I think it's like, I'm just kind of falling in love with the sound of it. I agree with Phil. Totally catchy. I don't even care what you're saying. But once again, I don't even care what you're saying. I want to care what you're saying because you have actually a really cool hook and a really cool idea. Mm-hmm. So it's not that I don't love it, because certainly, I mean, I'm thinking of, once again, Alanis Morissette, that song, You're Uninvited. But you're all alone, you're uninvited, an unfortunate slight, an unfortunate slight. I'm like, well, I don't know what she's saying there, but it sounds pretty cool.
Yeah.
And I think because it's the hook, I think that there would be a way to solve it by just changing the melody note of shoe. Because if you gave shoe equal attention, give me my shoelaces, then we would understand shoe a little more. Right now, we're losing shoe. We're just getting laces.
Because right now, shoe is on the downbeat, but the laces is the money note.
Right.
But you also need like that. I mean, that hook line. We're putting a lot of focus on this line, but giving my shoelaces, that's the first half, and then you have the da 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 da. Yeah. Now, what you could do, I was thinking there is actually have like a musical, sort of like a guitar thing, like do 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 do, as opposed to da da da, because it's like, or think about Neil Diamond's Sweet Caroline. It goes Sweet Caroline, ba ba ba, and everyone does that. Yeah. But that could be a great place for having like a guitar hook or a musical thing that people would kind of do that. Because it is a great line.
Well, and one thing also I thought is that you might want to think about what vowel sound you're saying there, right? So you could do, give me my shoelaces, aces. Like, do you know what I mean? It could be an extended part of the A sound. And that might work better than the da, because I'm not sure where the da is coming from.
Yeah, it was kind of random. It was like, I don't know.
Or give me my shoelaces. I think might work a little better than da. But I like the fact that I love that. I love putting that in a song.
Yeah. I don't. It's not a normal thing for me. It's very. I want word. I want meaningful word in there. But yeah.
I was in a band, and I kept on trying to do that, and the bass player kept on replacing it with words because he hated those things. It was very annoying because it was something I didn't do very often. I sort of thought, oh, this worked really well, but he wanted to. Yeah, but that's okay. I thought this was a really great song. I was quite impressed. The one thing is you have kind of this chord between the pre-chorus and the chorus, and you don't need it. Because it doesn't do anything. It's just kind of close. Like, it would be so much powerful because you have, not only is it lyrically an exclamation, give me my shoelaces, which sounds almost like an old Jewish man, give me my shoelaces. But if you have like the pre-chorus going right into the chorus becomes that much bigger. Whereas the jump, 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 it doesn't seem to need there. It's not like it's, and maybe at one time you can do it and do it longer so that it builds it up. But I think you just do it for like a bar or something, and I don't think it needs it.
Okay, we can look at that. I never really considered it without it, but yeah.
Yeah, I think it'd hit harder.
And I want to talk about the lyric again. So
yeah, please.
I think that for me, I'm not sure you're writing to shoelaces. If I just look at the lyric and, kind of like all roads lead to the hook. So I need to have something in there that gets me to like, suddenly I'm writing about shoelaces. And right now I don't have anything in there. I have you biking, right?
Yeah.
I get a description of nature, and then I get, if it don't broke, don't fix it. And I don't know what that refers to. So I wonder, for me, if you were going to retool anything, I would make the pre-chorus, like I would write more to shoelaces, more to shoes and walking. And I mean, I wouldn't use too many, like I know you said, like, should I use walking? Should I use ties? Should I do that? Yeah. But I think you have to get me there somehow. I think there has to be some, because right now it's like I get biking, and if it isn't broke, don't fix it. And I'm like, what isn't broke? The bike? Because that's the only thing you've given me to see, the bike and the forest. And then it's like giving me shoelaces. Wow, how did I get there? What was the thought process that got me from bicycling in nature to this broad concept of if it isn't broke, don't fix it, to give me shoelaces? How are shoelaces going to fix it? Or how did they make that connection? Mm-hmm. I think, for me, I think of like E.T. or Lean on Me as far as movies that I think of when I hear this song. The idea of like kids on bikes, you know, those were, if your pre-chorus said, those were the old days of kids and ice cream trucks. I wish I could get them back. Give me my shoelaces. If your pre-chorus led me there, it wouldn't have come out kind of so surprising. And then I think your second verse, right now, your second verse doesn't say anything. You parked back at home. We'd shoot the shit past dinner time. No one would know that we were right outside. Well, tell me that. What did you do? Tell me what you did. Like, we sat outside, skipping rocks on the sidewalk, you know, waiting for the ice cream truck to come around. The summer sun was fading as we, I don't know, other things that like young kids do, like, you know, as we played tag, or we, you know, give me what you actually did as a kid, so that I can then be nostalgic about it for you. Yeah. Does that make sense?
No, it doesn't make sense, and admittedly, I did struggle a lot with what you're talking about, how specific to be, and am I necessarily referencing just childhood? I'm not really sure, and yeah, all those sorts of questions, and and I can appreciate what you're saying. That I think it could use another layer of like more. I mean, what you're really talking about is imagery. Like you're talking about evoking some kind of.
Yeah, because if I can see it, Well, if you think about the second verse, listen to it, and then tell me what you see. Parked back at home, we'd shoot the shit past dinner time. No one would know that we were right outside. I can't. There's nothing in there for me to be like, oh yeah. I either remember that myself, or I can imagine how that must have been. Right? Yeah.
Well, Susan, what do you think about this idea? You know, keeping the chorus, you know, sort of the way it is. And one of the issues, I think, is because the first verse sets up a very kind of, you know, nostalgic kind of looking sort of image, which kind of roots it. But what if instead of shoelaces being the shoelaces, that the shoelaces are a metaphor for wanting to hold on to love, like finding love? That's so that you'd have a verse which is not about nostalgia, but maybe like trying to find someone, and then sort of saying like, give me my shoelaces. I want to hold on to something strong. Give me my shoelaces. I've had the wrong fit for too long. You know, there's that. Suddenly that throws it into a different light as opposed to being kind of a one-to-one type thing.
Yeah.
Who's thought?
Interesting.
Does that make sense, or is that just
that makes sense? That is spinning it quite a different, down different paths for sure. That's twisting it, which I'm not averse to. I've done that before, where I've thought the song was about one thing, and if I twist it this way, it actually ends up being about something else. But maybe it's stronger that way. But who knows?
A great song about nostalgia is "Night Moves" by Bob Seger. Bob Seger.
Yeah.
And that's a great one because it's really about, you know, him looking back and, you know,
It also recolors the title, which was the thing that we did with Chad. Working on my night moves. Funny how the night moves, right? Does both of those things.
Cool.
Yeah, I mean, I think certainly the shoelaces could be a metaphor for lots of things. They could be a metaphor for, for just what it is to be a kid, and you could write it from an adult perspective. Do you know what I mean? Like the shoelaces could be a symbol for the heavy weight of responsibility that you hold on to now, and you wish you were tied back to that time, that innocence. I'm thinking "Boys of Summer" too as a good song.
As one of my favorite lines is, I saw a dead head sticker on a Cadillac.
Yeah.
Said to myself, "You can't go back. You can never go back." It's just like, wow.
Right? Detail, man, detail. What I would recommend if you're interested in rewrite, because obviously, like if you love this, and we're not blah.
Yeah.
But
this is literally like sketch 5. I'm still. I'll easily go to sketch 12. I don't care.
I mean, I would do like what I would call like a free write on visuals from your past. Specific, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to rhyme. Just like get all the images out there, and then you can arrange them and see if they fit. Yeah. I loved the second pre-chorus. I thought this was great. Simple lives are long gone, faded away with all the fun. I thought that was cool. I almost feel like I wish that were pre-chorus number 1, because then I would understand what the song was about. But you still need to write to shoelaces, right? You still need to get us there. And then when you said I've had the wrong fit far too long, what did you mean by that? Like, what is the wrong fit for you?
Well, I think that kind of came from just feeling like, not like maybe feeling like I had a clear place before, and now things don't quite fit.
Okay, so
like there are a bunch of things in my life that don't feel like they're quite me.
I think that needs to be verse 2. I think verse 1 is the setup. Young kid, la 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 la. How terrible are things have changed. I wish they hadn't. Give me my shoelaces. Verse 2. Things now don't fit for me. I wish they did. And you don't use fit because obviously fits in your chorus, but move the story further along in time, maybe, so that then giving my shoelaces will have a different meaning. The first time it's about literally, give me the old times. And then it's about give me something that fits me. Yeah, that might be really nice. It's such a cool hook. It's such an interesting idea.
It is really. It's not something you come across very often, but I think it is kind of evocative. But I'm wondering if there's going to be kids going, "What are shoelaces?"
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, right.
It's a fax machine.
And then for me, so is the bridge. What are you trying to say in the bridge? Is the bridge overall something that is like a happy thing, or is the bridge like a longing thing?
It's more of it's definitely negative. It's not a happy thing. It's
okay.
Yeah.
So
it's more about the wrong fit idea.
Okay. So if it is, the way that you have that verse constructed in your bridge is not telling me that. So you have a 4-line structure, so even number of lines. You have what's called a through-written rhyme scheme, meaning that it goes from night behind, it's not through-written, it's actually rhymed couplets. Night behind, heels, and deal. And there kind of isn't any tension in that section because you have 2 rhymes that connect, you have 2 rhymes that connect, and you're in a 4-line section. So if I wanted to make you feel uncertain, feel that longing, I would manipulate that section to be a little bit different. Let me show you what I mean. I would mix up the rhyme scheme maybe. So it would go, as I walk day into night, I keep on digging in my heels. I'm afraid to fall behind. New kicks ain't such a good deal. So even that's giving me more, it's A-B, A-B, right?
Right.
Or what if I lengthened a line or shortened a line? Listen how that sounds as far as like creating like a sense of longing, right? As I walk day into night, I'm afraid of falling behind. Keep on digging my heels. New kicks, new kicks, new kicks ain't such a good deal. So now I've extended that last line so it kind of leaves you hanging and it'll take you really nicely back into the chorus.
Nice.
So if you're trying to create a song about, ice cream, happiness, friendship, love, everything's cool, it's summer, woohoo. 4-line structure, rhymed couplets, same number, like same length lines, awesome. But if you're trying to create a sense of stress, tension, longing, mess around with your rhyme scheme, mess around with your line length, create imbalance so that we can feel that as a listener. And it creates such a nice contrast to your chorus as well.
Yeah, because right now it's very structurally the same as the other things, and that was part of it as well. That I just kept thinking like a lot of the songs I was referencing kind of kept things symmetrical and catchy regardless of what their content was.
Yeah.
No matter what, right?
Yeah.
Those are some brilliant insights.
Those are really good points.
Yeah, especially the part with the bridge. I thought that was a brilliant thought. I never would have thought about that, extending the last line. But to really think about what you're trying to get across in each section of your song, and to make sure that it hits those kinds of those notes. Because otherwise, it's just kind of, it'll be a fine song, but maybe, I guess the idea is to go from a song that's fine to one that's really, really good. So
yeah, certainly. And then those details are important. They're important. I think it depends on, I think it's to a certain extent, it depends on the approach. Like if I was doing a more, folky singer-songwriter-y song, then I would probably pay much greater attention to those sorts of things where the structure lines up with that. But I was trying to do like a medium tempo driving kind of rock piece, which means, a lot of the stuff I was listening to, Eagles and CCR and all those, perfect rhyme. It doesn't matter what the content is. It's always couplets. It's always ours. It was just like, okay, let me see if I can do something like that. But I do appreciate that there is room for some of that. The thing that I want to make sure that it's still like I can incorporate some of that, but still make it cool and catchy.
Of course. I think the Foo Fighters are a really good example of a rock group that makes extremely catchy songs that also have details in them.
Right.
Yeah, it's a great point, actually.
Jason Isbell's The 400, what is his rock? The Drive-By Truckers? Isn't that his band? It's rock, right? I think rock can contain, we're not talking like Kiss. All right. So Kiss maybe doesn't contain probably the lines are pretty balanced. I haven't analyzed Kiss lately, but they still have pretty good things to look at, and they use a lot of internal rhyme if I'm thinking about it.
I have many thoughts on Kiss, actually. Yeah. It's
okay.
Yeah.
Highway to Hell. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, I think it also depends on what the song is about, because your song depends on, like, it is about something, as opposed to something that's kind of throwaway, like Let's Dance or Let's Party, or
I totally agree, Phil. I totally agree.
Everything,
I totally agree.
Because and then because it is that shoelaces, it's suddenly it's about something. So all these little whereas My Sharona may not be as intricate because it doesn't have to be, but although it's a fantastic song.
Yeah, absolutely. Everything has its place, right?
Yeah.
Cool. Wow.
Well, so what are you going to do next with this, Neel?
Well, I'm going to continue to develop it. Like I'm going to take some of the ideas you guys are talking about and play around with them and see what. I certainly wasn't 100% happy with the verses. That I can appreciate, even the bridge. I guess that only leaves I'm happy with the chorus.
Well, and I think one of the points that we like to make to our listeners is the songs don't have to be perfect when you send them to us. It can be just you and a guitar on your and with your phone.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't have to be great as long as we can make out some of the words and, something, that's fine. It doesn't need to be fully produced. And I think that's the danger because everyone wants to make fully produced stuff.
Well, and not even fully. I mean, this is kind of fully produced, whatever. Like, yeah, fine, fully produced. But in terms of a complete song, like I do have 2 full verses, a bridge, chorus, pre-chorus. Like everything is there. It sounds like a finished song.
Yeah.
In my mind, it ain't a finished song. It still needs some work. Right. But that's, I think like for when our listeners submit their songs, it doesn't even have to be finished in terms of you don't have to be 100% happy with the lyrics. You don't have to be 100% happy with your chord choices or your melodies. You can send it to us, fully realizing or recognizing that there's room for improvement, as there is with everybody's stuff, right? It's never
that's what you get back.
Well, and how did it feel writing in Mixo? Because I took us on a lyric path, but how was it for you? Like, how did it feel? Do you feel comfortable writing in Mixo after this? Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, I did go through. I did write a bridge where I was doing what Phil was doing because I started playing around with the sort of descending, the descending sort of semitone. So sort of thing, and then I realized that if I did that, I'm escaping from Mixo. Now I'm going into the thing. And I deliberately set up my challenge to stick in Mixo for the whole thing and see if I could pull it off. So I went back to my original bridge, which was just using the other chords in the palette. So nice. I mean, but writing in Mixo again, the thing that I realized is that it's a pretty smooth mode. Like everything just feels a little bit softer. Around the edges. The contrast lines are not super strong. Everything just kind of flows nicely from one section to the next, and it's not, because a lot of the time, like you write, like if I did do that in the bridge and modulate to a different thing, then how do I go back to the chorus? That's always a bit of a sticking point, a bit of a problem to solve. Here, I didn't have to solve. I just, every single section ends on an F7, and then I start the next section with an F. Like, it's not hard.
That's true, actually.
For the pre-chorus. So it's not, and really, Phil, that was the reason for the little ramp up thing, the bump, 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 bump on the 4 chord, on the B flat, just to drop you into the chorus.
There.
Otherwise, I don't think it would feel like a drop into the chorus.
Right.
I don't know, try it. I think you'll.
But yeah, I'll give it a shot for sure.
I think you'll be surprised.
Yeah. I think in terms of energy map momentum wise, it might be better that way. But until I try it and hear it,
you just won't know.
When I wonder if the bridge went to the 5. I know you're using the 5 minor in there, but I wonder if the bridge actually sat in 5 minor for a while. That might be really interesting to try. Because that's another characteristic of Mixo is the flat 7 and also the 5 is a minor as opposed to a major.
Yeah.
And that might be an interesting kind of sad. You'll introduce a little bit of sadness.
Into your bridge. I did kind of feel the same with the 2 minor because it was a little bit darker wise, but because everything else kind of except for the pre-chorus. The verses and choruses all start on major chords.
Right.
Yeah, and it's in F Mixolydian, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes.
So the bridge would be C minor or G minor, C minor, F minor 7. Is that what you're talking about?
G minor, C minor, F7.
Well, that's what you have now. But so Susan was saying that you go to the minor 7.
You go to the C minor.
She's saying go to the C minor to start with.
Right.
Oh, I see what you mean.
It's not the 2 minor, just C minor. I'd say establish 5 minor as your tonal center for a little bit of time in the bridge.
Oh, I see what you mean.
And I find too with a lot of these songs, like they would just vamp from like
right 5 to 1, 5 to 1. Yeah, totally. Yeah.
And that's something. And I think I thought about doing that, but I wanted to write something a little bit more involved. I guess I don't know why.
Nice.
Well,
I have you guys discovered, I wanted to I found this guy on YouTube. You maybe already know. There's a guy named David Bennett. Have you heard of
Love David Bennett?
Isn't he great?
His video was the first one we posted to that resource page, because that was the one that just pointed in my brain, and now I understand more.
Yes. Right, the one about brightness or darkness.
Yes.
So awesome.
Yeah.
For me, I play that in my class because I think it's just so, it's oh, now I get it.
Yeah.
Right? It's very, very simple.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm glad you guys already know that. Anyway.
Cool. We mentioned a couple weeks ago, I found another YouTuber, I forget her name, an Australian singer-songwriter lady who analyzed You Ought to Know, Alanis Morissette.
Oh, nice.
Which starts in Dorian, it sort of gravitates out of Dorian, does modal interchange, she does a lot of modal stuff in that song. And she points out how cool it is and analyzes it. It was a really good.
Is it Kepi Coots? Is it Kepi? Is that her name?
I forget her name. I've only seen a couple of her videos. Yeah. There's a lot of good content out there on YouTube for this stuff.
Yeah.
There is definitely. Well, I think we definitely nerded out on this one.
That's what we do. This was great.
I know. Well, that was great. That's all the time we have tonight on Song Talk Radio as we hear the band because they want to go home. Neel, how do people get more of you?
More of me, you can go to neelmodi.com.
And Susan Catania, how do people get more of you? And what's next on your plate?
Go to @SusanC Music on Instagram. That's where everything is right now. And I'll be doing a bunch of gigs in the Boston area. So look for me on SusanCatania.com.
SusanCatania.com. Can you spell the last?
CATTANEO.
Awesome. Don't forget, we want to hear from you, the home listener, so send us your comments on Facebook or Instagram at Song Talk Radio, or send us an email at feedback@songtalk.ca. Also, you can check out the YouTube channel for live videos of us doing the show like we are now. Subscribe today to the Song Talk Radio podcast on your favorite podcast provider. And don't forget to sign up for the free newsletter at songtalk.ca. You can find the links to all the products, books, and web services we mentioned here on the show on the resources page, songtalk.ca/resources. And wherever you are in the world, you can join us online via Zoom at the next Song Talk meetup. Free to join on meetup.com and free to attend. And we also do it every other month live in Toronto. Stop by songtalk.ca for the link and meet some other great songwriters from all around the world. And because you can feel Neel, people can follow you one more time.
neelmodi.com.
Susan, one more time. Can people get you?
SusanCatania.com.
You can follow me at philemery.ca. Stop by the website at songtalk.ca to browse past shows and find out how you can be a guest. Stay safe, everyone, and keep on writing. Woo! Well, we got that. That's good. Susan, that was so incredibly awesome. I can't.
That was great. That was a good review.
Yeah, that was just fantastic.
I'm definitely going to visit your idea about making verse 2 about the wrong fit thing. I think that's that's what's going to make it for this song. I think
it's really cool.
I don't know. Do I need pre-choruses and a bridge? I don't know.
I didn't mind. I might nuke all those words and put new words, but I thought it kind of worked.
Right.
Because it loaded up. I mean, it loaded up the chorus, which is what a pre-chorus is supposed to do.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So, but it's a really strong chorus. I mean, it was.
Yeah, and that was the first thing I wrote. Like that was certain. Although the second and fourth line, I've gone back and forth on different versions of what that is. Like the give me my shoelaces, that's been solid since the beginning. But and the melody of the I want to hold on to something strong, that's the melody's always been the same, but the lyric has been revised
really like
at least
that
3-4 times.
I really like that line because I think a lot of people want to hold on to something strong, and
Right.
You know, that's what they're looking for. It never exists. And the line, I've had the wrong fit for far too long. I wound up on Facebook a couple of years ago running into an old girlfriend. Like, you know, we sort of went out for a couple of months and then she moved away. And, you know, we're saying, oh, what have you been doing? She sort of said, oh, you know, after, you know, I stopped, you know, after we sort of stopped seeing each other, I, you know, had some crappy relationships, and eventually I got tired of having crappy jobs and crappy relationships. And, you know, she just decided to demand a good relationship. And I think that's kind of it. Like, so many people have had the wrong fit for a long time, and people are constantly looking for the right fit.
Right.
And, you know, I think it's a very universal concept. You know, so
I agree.
interesting.
I'm happy to report I have found shoes with shoelaces.
They're hard to find.
Yeah.
Aren't they?
I have my Converse All Stars high cut.
Yeah, my Converse. Yeah,
Because my cat Charlie, like, just grabs at any kind of lace, like it'll attack your feet while you're putting your stuff on. So he basically shreds the shoelaces. So it basically came apart. So there was nothing else, and we were trying to find them, and I couldn't find any. I'm like, what the hell?
Wow. It's a lost art. No one's going to know how to tie anything.
I know.
Right.
I'm going to be like, what?
Velcro. Rake Velcro.
I know.
Velcro's good for some things, not for shoes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come on, people.
Well, it's good for seniors.
Exactly. It is good for seniors. My mom needs Velcro.
Yeah.
Fine.
But
For that, I need to be even
she's the only
older.
one. She's 95.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
when we get there, we will all need Velcro.
So
That's-
hopefully by then I'll just be like socks and sandals.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
We'll
thanks
have
so much.
cyber feet that it will walk.
I'm gonna have
for us.
cyber feet anyway.
I can't imagine
We're
like
gonna-
the new Apple things, like wearing like ski goggles on your head all the time. I don't understand.
They're gonna be smaller in the future.
I suppose
They're going to be implanted in your
They're gonna
body
be implanted
in the
your
future.
eye. Yeah.
Yeah, that's where it's going to be. We're all going to be cyborgs. It's okay.
Yeah. We're all gonna be Johnny Mnemonic.
Assimilate. We're in the Borg. We have to. Sorry, quoting Star Trek.
Yeah,
There we
yeah.
go.
Oh well,
Resistance is futile.
There we go. Exactly.
as long as the catering is good, I'm fine with that.
Exactly.
You know.
Right.
Yeah.
Because most people don't know that the Borg are known for their catering. So
Mm.
yeah, they're very good at it.
Swedish meatballs, Borg.
It wasn't nowhere. He's bored. Oh God, you're funny. All right, guys. Well, it was
Okay.
lovely as always.
Thank
You're
you
just
so much.
so much fun.
Oh,
So much fun.
Absolutely, Susan.
We went way
Oh, it's
over
always
an
great to
hour,
have
but
you on the
it's
show,
okay.
Susan. All your insights and everything.
Oh yeah,
Cool.
amazing stuff.
And I'll see you guys in 2 weeks, and
Yes.
we'll listen to your song.
Yeah,
Phil.
we're gonna dissect Phil's song.
I know. I gotta get my ass in gear and make a decision.
Finish the
God.
damn thing.
Is it in Mixo also?
Well, no, the one I was going to do was Lydian. That was I started.
Oh
off.
yeah. Okay. The
But
sharp
then
four
these
is
other
good.
ones, I don't know. I'm pretty sure they're modes, but I just don't know what they are.
Mm.
So,
All right.
Better figure it out.
Yeah.
Or just stick to Lydian. Be fine.
Right.
yeah, that's true. Well,
Just do a vamp from one to major one to major two.
Right.
There
Right.
once was a
Dreams.
guy who did a little thing, and then he says, do whatever you want to.
Hey, if Fleetwood Mac could have done that and pulled off Dreams,
Yeah. What a song.
Right. Right.
2-chord
So
song.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're not Fleetwood Mac, though.
no, we're not.
Not yet. We aren't.
Not yet.
All
All right.
right. All right. Talk to you guys later.
Take care.
All right.
Bye.
Okay. Have a good night, Susan.
Bye.
Cheers.
Bye.